Can China's coronavirus recovery be trusted? It feels a bit odd to be even asking this question. The world still doesn't have an answer to the many, many questions that we've asked of China. Repeatedly, for more than 3 months now, questions about the source of the virus, the cure, the research, the reopening of the wet markets, no answers at all. So we keep asking the questions and we take the good news from China with a sack of salt. Tonight I want to raise 5 questions, 5 very basic, simple questions for China to answer. I'll try to keep them as direct as possible. Question number 1, where did the Wuhan virus come from? The coronavirus come from? China says it wasn't Wuhan. For a while, the Chinese blamed the Americans, but now they have made a U-turn. So where did the virus come from? It's very important to know. Was it the wet markets, which the Chinese government strangely hasn't shut down? If yes, then we must be preparing for another pandemic, a COVID-21 or 22, God forbid. Did it originate because of sloppy practices in Chinese labs, which is even worse? In any law-abiding country, those who recklessly pursue hazardous activities are held accountable, even punished for such disasters. In China, all of this is buried under the carpet. So that's the first question they must answer, the origin of the virus. Question number 2. How has China cured the positive cases at home? Again, no one knows. Why do I ask? Because China had reported more than 82,000 cases. Let's assume that is the right figure. Now, China says 90% of these cases have been cured. The question is how? What are they using? Is it traditional Chinese medicine, which President Xi also seems to be promoting? Or is it that nanomaterial that Global Times reported about? If yes, why not share it with the world? Perhaps learn from India. Hydroxychloroquine is not even a proven cure. It's a potential cure, and India has exported 14 million tablets of it. It is gifting paracetamol to neighbors and many life-saving drugs to nations in peril. What has China done? Donation diplomacy, and that too backfired. China exported faulty masks and test kits. If China had cured tens of thousands of people, it claims it has, it should tell the world how and spare us the test kits. Question number 3. Where does research stand in China? I ask because China is very quick in slamming anything that anyone else proposes. Hydroxychloroquine is ineffective, said China, but it has offered no alternatives. It should, because it had a clear head start. It had the first samples, which it destroyed or hid. It reported the first case in December 2019. It's been almost 4 months now. China boasts of the world's biggest research labs. What are they doing? We won't know because China is clamping down on the publication of coronavirus research. Any academic papers on the virus will not be published until they receive a green light from the Special Task Force of the State Council. Believe it or not, a special task force for research. The Chinese censors must clear everything. Question number 4. Why doesn't China give access to international experts if it has nothing to hide? China says it's a collective challenge. Fine. Global experts want to share their knowledge, make a collective effort. Why is China not accepting those offers? A WHO delegation was sent to Wuhan, but then we do not know what it found. In any case, the WHO has lost much credibility since. The US Center for Disease Control has offered to send experts to China. Beijing denied. The question is why? What is China hiding? And the last and most pertinent question, can China assure the world that this will not happen again? Will China shut its wet markets? After all, knowing how a pandemic started is key to stopping the next one. And China's wet markets have been the birthplace of many diseases. There have been warnings, scientific warnings. But these markets have gone back to selling exotic meat. From deer to minks to foxes, bats and pangolins, they're all back on the plate. What assurance, if any, can China give the world? Instead of answering the questions, though, China holds a light show to celebrate and divert attention. Well, we will not be blinded by these lights. The questions will continue. It is important to hold China accountable and make China pay.
I can only imagine how tough it has been to follow the rules on social distancing. I thank you because so many millions and millions of people across this country have been doing the right thing. Millions going through the hardship of self-isolation, faithfully, patiently, and with thought and care for others as well as for themselves. I want you to know that this Easter Sunday, I do believe that your efforts are worth it and are daily proving their worth. Because although we mourn every day those who are taken from us in such numbers, and though the struggle is by no means over, we are now making progress in this incredible national battle against coronavirus. A fight we never picked against an enemy we still don't entirely understand. We're making progress in this national battle because the British public formed a human shield around this country's greatest national asset, our National Health Service. We understood and we decided that if together we could keep our NHS safe, if we could stop our NHS from being overwhelmed, then we could not be beaten, and this country would rise together and overcome this challenge as we have overcome so many challenges in the past. In the last 7 days, I have, of course, seen the pressure that the NHS is under. I've seen the personal courage, not just of the doctors and nurses, but of everyone, the cleaners, the cooks, the healthcare workers of every description, physios, radiographers, pharmacists, who've kept coming to work, kept putting themselves in harm's way, kept risking this deadly virus. It is thanks to that courage, that devotion, that duty, and that love that our NHS has been unbeatable.
Protect yourself from COVID-19 coronavirus. COVID-19 coronavirus is a respiratory illness transmitted from person to person through droplets from an infected person sneezing or coughing. People catch the virus from contact with the droplets. Close contact includes having been within 2 meters of a confirmed case for at least 15 minutes or living in the same household as a confirmed case. COVID-19 can also be transmitted through touching a surface that has the virus on it and then touching your own mouth, nose or eyes. The best way to prevent COVID-19 is to practice good hygiene. Good hygiene includes washing your hands frequently with soap and water. This is just as effective as using hand sanitizer. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing, and discard the tissue immediately into a bin and wash your hands. Avoid touching your eyes, nose and mouth with unwashed hands. Leave at least 1 meter, 3 feet, distance between yourself and other people, particularly those who are coughing, sneezing and have a fever. The use of a face mask is not required, and there is no evidence to suggest that it protects people who are well.
Right now there's a lot of things happening.
On China, why are there no consequences for China for the misinformation
How do you know
that
there
they
are no
shared?
consequences?
We've been asked, and it
How do you
appeared
know
that
there are no
were
consequences?
What are the consequences, Mr. President,
I
for the
wouldn't tell you.
misinformation?
China will find out.
But
Why would I
people-
tell
but
you?
People are concerned that they stonewalled.
No, you started
that they
off by
gave
saying, why are there no
misinformation.
consequences?
You asked this a few times, so follow up on your response. Why are there no
How do
consequences
you
for
know
China?
there are no
Because
consequences?
we asked you,
You're
and
going to
you've
find
said-
out.
you've said
I
that you
wouldn't
did
tell
not.
you. You'd probably be the last person on earth I'd tell.
There will
Go
be
ahead.
consequences.
Yeah, please.
Mr. President, actually, this is a question for Mr. Vice President. Do you agree with the President's statement and his understanding of federalism that his power is total, like in the way that he described it? Is there anything you'd like to add or any context you'd like to add to the way he was discussing that?
I support the President's leadership under the National Emergency Declaration that he signed. We're standing before you today, the first time in American history, when all 50 states have issued emergency declarations, and the territories. This is an unprecedented time in the life of the nation. And fortunately, as presidents reflected and our health experts will continue to reflect, because the American people have heeded the president's coronavirus guidelines for America, because state governors have taken those and implemented them, even in states where there was not a significant outbreak, and implemented additional measures as we provided them with data about cases and best practices. We're making real progress as a country.
This will work, and we'll be with you every step of the way.
Really? So don't go to the park, don't go outside, stay at home. There's other rules that he and other Liberals have promulgated. For example, don't go to the cottage. Actually, Doug Ford has proposed that rule in Ontario. Don't cross provincial lines. That's another rule. Don't mix households. But hang on. Don't go to the park. Don't run around outside. Don't cross provincial lines. Don't mix households. So Trudeau just said, you just saw him with your own eyes and ears saying, hey guys, sorry to do this to you on this gorgeous weekend, but you got to stay cooped up at home. But then Sophie Gregoire Trudeau, the biggest gold digger since Meghan Markle, well, she just couldn't help herself. Look at this. Hello, dear friends. Hello, it's me, and I'm fabulous. Justin, the kids, and I wanted to take a quick moment to send you all our love and best wishes this long weekend. You thought we were staying in? Sucks to be you, suckers! Even though families across the country are having to get a little creative and celebrate a bit differently this year, we're all in this together. So whether you're able to be with your loved ones or you're staying connected from afar, we're thinking of you and keeping you in our hearts. From our family to yours, happily Easter, suckers. Hang on. Didn't Trudeau just say, don't go to the park? Didn't he just say, don't mix households? Didn't he just say, don't cross borders?
And welcome to Nibiru Ireland. 14th of April 2020, and XTV News today, where we listen to Canada and we listen to India and something from Ireland, something from the UK and something from Canada. Much appreciate all the messages for everybody for getting in touch, and maybe we can all come together one day and have a drink when this is all finished. And some people send the messages through Gmail, nibiruireland@gmail.com. And it always takes one big spectacular event before people start to realise that there could be an opportunity at some stage in your life where you're going to meet a sudden ending. Yeah. So today we discovered that all these people and the numbers that's up there on the internet are just getting higher and higher by the day. And all turning into phone numbers, actually, some of them. So I wanted to let people understand about the information coming out of India. And that's where they are. And if you go in and listen to each country that's suffering, it's different information. So that's where Paulie is. And all this, whatever you want to call it. Just keep an eye on the dates, ladies and gents. And I'll be back to you tomorrow. Just a short little message, and of course, as I said, I love reading your messages, so send them over to me. If you have any photographs, you can put them into one of the videos. And don't forget, I will be back tomorrow. Today is Tuesday. Spectacular weather, I have to say. Not one airplane have I seen in the last 45 minutes through the app, of course, that's given to us. So isn't it amazing? And all I see pulling up outside my house, God knows who they are, but it does say FedEx on the side of the van. But it could be anyone. The Men in Black. See ya.